welcome to my kitchen. I'm Mindy Banks, the Flip Flop Chef, and I'm here today with Jeff Ferris. And
Yes.
Jeff is going to tell us a little bit about his businesses, and then we're going to show you how to make a few cocktails with some of Pampered Chef's brand new products coming out this fall. So Jeff, tell us about what you do, because you do a few things.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Miss Mindy for allowing me to be here today and represent her products.
Thank you.
I've been in the mixology business for about 33 years. I am a certified mixologist from the Georgia School of Bartending with a degree in food and beverage operations as well. So I have been serving up cocktails for now 33 years for Carrollton and surrounding areas. I also am a real estate broker with Chapman Hall Realtors with 21 years experience, and I'm an associate broker, and I look forward to serving you in all of these areas that you may need expertise, so give us a call.
And I will post all of your contact information in the comments after we finish our video today. So it's always 5 o'clock somewhere.
Absolutely.
So even though it's the morning here, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. So we are gonna I'm gonna start off with making a mimosa, and then I'm gonna show you our champagne opener, our wine opener, and then Jeff is gonna show us our new premium cocktail set. We're gonna make a citrus berry smash cocktail, and he's gonna share an awesome mojito recipe with us.
A mojito recipe, and we're also gonna give you guys a tip on how to save money by making your own simple syrup at home, and also infusing fresh herbs as well.
I love that. I love that. Awesome. Okay, so I don't even think I told you about this, Jeff, but this is a champagne and wine chiller. Okay. You can actually freeze this container, and whatever bottle you put in here is going to keep it at serving temperature for about 2 hours.
Oh,
so that's a pretty cool thing. And this is a storage lid, but you put it on the bottom. See how I slung that condensation? Mm-hmm. It catches the condensation and keeps it from dripping on your counter. So I'm going to take this out because if you've ever popped a bottle of champagne, you know it can be dangerous. Have you ever broken anything when you've popped champagne?
I had not had that happen.
I haven't either, but it's nerve-wracking to say the least when you're trying to pop a bottle. So we're going to put this in here. I went ahead and loosened the key. This little wire frame is called the key. You slide this down on the top, and you're just going to untwist that key all the way. You're going to grip right here around the neck of the bottle and grip the top of the cork and just pull right out.
Oh, great.
Isn't that cool?
That is nice.
And so it's real easy for you to open that. Now tell me, because I know some people do this one way and other people do it another. Do you pour the champagne first or the juice first?
Well,
What's
actually,
the
proper way to do a mimosa is you pour them at the same time.
Okay, well here,
however, if you prefer, you can add a little bit of the champagne first and then add the orange juice and top it off that way.
Okay, well you show us how you would do it. I was going to for this. So I'm going to let you give us your expertise.
Okay.
Hopefully we're not losing our stream.
The actual recipe for a mimosa, it is equal parts champagne and OJ, but most people will do a little extra champagne to give them a little added lift, and that's perfectly fine. But if you pour it this way, it actually mixes on the way down, so you don't have to stir as much.
Awesome. Awesome. See, I learned something new.
Drop your fresh fruit and you have your mimosa ready to go.
I love it. Now, if you are someone who doesn't need the whole bottle at one time, I know if you're at a restaurant, it's easy probably to go through a whole bottle of champagne in a night. But we have this really cool stopper. So if you're drinking alone, then you can save your champagne. So you press down kind of like a cork and then just let it squeeze, and you can put this back in the fridge, and it will hold the bubbles for about 3 days.
Okay, great.
Cool? So you have 3 days to drink your bottle.
That sounds good.
All right, I'm going to set these over here so we don't spill them. And then I'm going to show everybody our wine opener, which is pretty cool. And then I'm going to let you show us how to make these 2 delicious cocktails and teach us a little bit more about all of that. So I just have a basic bottle, cheap from Aldi, Pinot Grigio, and this is our electric wine opener here. And the cool thing about this is that it has a foil cutter as a stand. So you just use this foil cutter right on the top, you press it down, give it a squeeze, and then twist all the way around. And you use your little mat. Not so well. And then you just cut the foil off, and the wine opener, you put it on the top, holding onto the bottle, press the down button, and it's going to pull that cork right out of the bottle.
That's easy.
Isn't that cool? And this is good for a bartender because this wine opener will open 60 to 70 bottles of wine in a single charge.
Okay.
Isn't that cool?
No breaking cork.
Yeah, and it doesn't break the corks. You press the up button to give it back, and you can see if you wanted to recork the bottle,
Okay.
you could. We do sell a couple of tools that you can use to pour wine. This is a wine stopper, but it also has a pouring spout. So I don't know if you can see, everybody on the video is not going to see, but you see how you can just kind of pull that up, and it gives you a dripless pour. Let me show you these cool markers. We have these wine glass markers, and you can write on your cup. Ideally, you want that to dry for about 3 minutes so that it doesn't rub off once you pour in there. But we've got a pouring spout so it doesn't drip down the side of the bottle.
Does it aerate the wine as well?
This one does not aerate the wine, but we do have an aerator, so I'm glad you asked about that.
Okay.
This is an aerator, so even though this isn't a red wine, should you aerate white wine or just red wine?
Typically, it's red wine only.
Okay, that's what I thought. But if we'll pretend it's red for TV's sake, right? So you see how this bubbles while it's pouring? That aerates the red wine while you're pouring it. So you can certainly choose the one that works best for whatever bottle that you are using at the time.
Anything to help a good bottle of wine taste better.
I know, right? Okay, so I'm gonna let you tell us your tips and tricks to making the perfect cocktail. Are you gonna make the mojito first?
We are going to do the mojito first.
Okay.
But I'd like to start off by showing you guys the saving tip for your simple syrup at home. It's really quite simple. We have 2 different kinds here today, actually. We have the basil.
And I made that. Aren't you proud of me?
Yes, Miss Mindy made this one. And I made the basic simple syrup. And all it is 1 cup sugar, 1 cup water. Put it over the stove and just let it dissolve until the sugar dissipates. Set it off, let it cool, and you have your syrup. You can actually take that syrup and use fresh fruit. Since we have the muddler here today, we will show you to actually infuse your favorite mint or herb into the simple syrup. So we'll be using it for the mojito today, and we've already got our syrup made up.
Awesome.
So we're going to start first with the ice. Now I'm going to do something a little different as they teach on the video for this product. They have you muddling the blueberries first, which is fantastic. But here's a trick to it.
I love tricks.
We'll just do it this way.
What you need?
We'll do this.
Okay.
Well, it calls for 5.
Oh yeah, we just throw them in.
Yeah, we'll just throw them in.
Yeah, we're not gonna count blueberries.
Okay. So instead of putting the ice in at one time, we actually take the ice, put a layer on the bottom, take the blueberries, and then take and cushion it inside of there, and we'll muddle it that way. So then you'll just need your fruit. Inside of the shaker here, we'll get our syrup, and it calls for
2 ounces, I think. Oh wait, are we making yours or mine?
We'll go ahead and do yours
Okay,
first.
so it says here, I got our cheat sheet.
It's 2, 2, and 2. 2, 2, and 4.
Okay, 2, yeah, you're right, 2, 2, and 4. See, he knows.
That's another trick of how mixologists remember things. It's kind of like, Fran stole the cream for a recipe,
I love
For a
it.
Russian Quaalude, it's Frangelico stole vodka and
See,
cream. So
I
we
don't
have
know
tricks
any
for
of this.
memorizing all those recipes.
That's awesome. All right, so that's the basil syrup,
Basil
blueberries,
syrup.
and ice.
So 2 ounces of
2
lime
ounces
juice.
of lime juice, which I already pressed with I got a piece of pulp in there. So I'm going to tell everybody a little tip about citrus fruit that Jeff didn't even know. I got to teach him something new today.
Did.
So I had a basket of limes here when Jeff came, and I microwaved this whole basket because this is an awesome product from Pampered Chef. That's a food safe basket. It's dishwasher safe. I wouldn't microwave it for very long. I don't think it's technically microwave safe, but I did put it in the microwave for 1.5 minutes. I did 1 minute, and then I just shuffled all the limes around and then did 30 seconds more. The benefit of this is you warm the fruit, but it releases more juices from the membranes on the inside. So all that juice that was in that cup came from 2 limes. So here's one of the limes. I just cut it in half, put it inside of the citrus press, and you just squeeze the press to get all of the juice out. You had enough for your drink, right? Okay, so that is our citrus press, and just a little tip on how to get a little bit more juice out of your citrus fruit. And that's great for any recipe, whether you're making a drink or if you're making a dessert. It's great to have because then you use less fruit, which is cheaper.
Absolutely.
All right, so we got the blueberries, the basil syrup, the lime juice, the ice, and then we'll do the sparkling drink at the end.
And one other thing, they use the
LaCroix grapefruit water.
Grapefruit water, which is also One thing to remember when using soda, Sprite, or anything like that, it creates pressure. So what you want to do is once you got all your base products in, you want to go ahead and muddle. We have a surface underneath this to keep down the noise from the muddling. You can tell the difference versus here or here. And the thing about when you're muddling, you want to go at an angle, hand over, turn, and as you're crushing the product, smashing it together.
I love that, and it's already turning pink.
It's already turning pink. And that's why you want to cushion and put your layer of ice first. And this is whether you're making any type of muddled product, whether it's a Mojito or Caipirinha or anything like that. You want to take and put the ice on the bottom level, put your mint in the center, and another layer of ice over the top.
Okay, what was that fancy word you said?
Caipirinha.
Tell us what that is, because I
That
don't
is
know.
that's a Brazilian drink that's very popular. That's
Okay.
awesome. So we're going to shake it a little bit before we add the grapefruit.
Okay.
And when we get ready to add this, this is where the pressure comes from. Because there's a seal on the shaker. It calls for 4 ounces of this. So you want to go in here at an angle. You never want to go straight down, because if you go straight down, it forms a lock.
Oh.
You go at an angle, and then you shake.
Okay.
And to save your rotator cuff, never shake above. Always keep it here and shake.
See, I told y'all in our post before.
See
we
how the
came.
pressure comes out?
I love that. He's
So-
the best.
So
He knows
then
his
you
stuff.
have it there, and you just pour it up.
And that is called a strainer that you put on the
Strainer.
top. Okay.
This is the new Pampered Chef strainer.
Isn't it? And you said it's pretty good
It
quality.
has a nice gauge. It's heavier on the front end. So you put your finger here, and it just pours straight out.
Your drink is much prettier than the one I tested last night, but it was because I didn't muddle it enough.
You
Because
didn't muddle it
It
enough.
was clear. I
And-
was like, why is my drink not pink?
Yeah, and that's the best thing about putting the layers of ice, your product, and then another layer of ice, because, I mean, they call for you to muddle it just the fruit here.
Yeah.
And you can do that, but it doesn't get the same consistency.
Okay.
So that's what it is.
Awesome.
So
Okay.
we'll just garnish.
Oh yes, let's garnish them. Do you want a piece of basil? I'll find. They're not the. It's not the prettiest basil. There's a grocery store in town. We won't name it.
We'll sit it
But
right
basil
over
has
to
been
the side.
hard to find.
Mhm.
So, all right.
Pour
So,
this in the sink.
oh yeah, I will.
I'm gonna drink it.
Oh no, we're not gonna pour that away. You mean this? Is it? Oh, pour it in there.
Pour it in
Yeah, pour it in this drink.
In this
Unless you need that cup, I can get
Oh,
you
I don't need
something.
that one.
Yeah, and I'll wash this for you. And then while I wash it, do you want to tell them what you're gonna do for the mojito? I'll throw it back. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, for the mojito, which everyone loves, and they think it's a lot of work, and everybody wants to cut corners. I'm going to show you a simple way of doing a mojito that you will absolutely love and not have to go out and always pay for it. You can do it right at home. And it's going to involve using our simple syrup that we've made. Once again, that's 1 cup of water to 1 cup of sugar. Put it over the stove in a pot, let it dissolve, set it aside, let it cool. And this is the end result. Now, we have it set up here so we can pour better here. Now, should we still use your...
You can if you want to, but you probably don't need it.
Well,
you just
yeah.
make it yourself.
Okay.
Because he's an expert. He doesn't need the jigger to measure it out, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And what I'm going to be using today, this is a spill stop pour, which basically means when you're using a spill, you can actually pour this straight up down and actually stop the pour by popping the bottle. We're not going to get that technical, but an ounce and a half of rum for your mojito. Just pour 1.5 ounces.
Awesome.
All right, and then a 1/2 ounce of bar syrup or simple syrup.
So some
Here.
people call it bar. Is that the official term? Is bar syrup?
The bars call it bar syrup, but it's the same thing as simple syrup.
Okay.
Okay, so once you have that here, you want to get your mint leaves.
And you have ice in there, right?
I have
Okay,
ice.
I thought you did, but I want to make sure I didn't miss
You
anything.
have ice. So you're gonna do. It depends on how big the leaves are.
Okay.
3 to 4 can be a little more, and the nice smell of the mint. Add a little bit more ice. Once again, hand over the top, and you would also throw in a little bit of your
Oh, good.
lime.
Awesome.
Okay? So now you're ready to muddle. Once again, hand over the top of the muddle. Make sure you don't pinch your fingers, and just keep it up, and just keep turning. Just keep turning. It's like clockwork.
And so you're actually turning the cup.
I'm turning the cup while I'm doing it. That way I'm crushing it all around in there.
Now this fancy thing, is it just called like a bar mat?
It is a bar mat.
What can we use if we don't have a bar mat?
If you don't have a bar mat, you can use a cutting board as well.
Okay.
Or you can actually use a towel.
Okay.
You can just put down a towel.
All right. I
And
love
once
that.
again, at an angle, never straight down. If you put it straight down, it will lock.
Okay.
So
And how do you get it off if it locks?
If it locks, you can spill your drink trying to get it
Okay.
off, but otherwise you just keep tapping it,
Okay.
turning it and tapping it. Because see how it
Okay.
chills up here?
Yeah. I love
So it
it.
gets nice and cold. And one other thing is, mixology standards teach us to always pour over fresh ice. Whereas a lot of time in bars, they'll just pour straight in here. The only time that's different is when you're actually making a mojito.
Okay.
With the mojito, you actually can use this ice.
Okay.
So we'll set our glass down.
Okay. So we don't need the strainer.
You don't need the strainer in
Okay.
this case.
All right.
So then it calls for club soda, and you can also use Sprite as well. Today we'll be using Sprite.
Okay.
So what we want to do is pour some of this over the bottom, get that in there, get our strainer, and then add,
So pouring at the same time.
I'm pouring at the same time. Bring it all the way up, grab your straw, grab your garnish, and once again you can add, if you like, another sprig, and you have your mojito.
I love it. This is so awesome, Jeff. Do you have any other tips for us? Things that we might want to know when we're making our own cocktails or mocktails? Because you could make
Sure.
you could make both of these drinks without the alcohol, right?
Absolutely. And one of the
Okay.
things about making your own drinks at home is do not be afraid to experiment. To give you another trick when it comes to making frozen drinks, what you want to do is when you have your blender, I personally like the Vitamix, but if you don't have that, there are other choices out there.
I love
But the
Vitamix.
main thing to remember is whenever you're making frozen drinks, your base, which is your liquor, in mixology we call liquor or spirits your base.
Okay.
So your base always goes first in. So if you're making a frozen drink, it will be rum, vodka, gin, or whatever you're using. Over top of your ice, and then you'd add your mixers. The most important thing to remember is that you want your liquid to be a ½ inch to an inch above the ice.
Okay.
It should shimmer.
Oh.
And so once you have it at that level, then you will proceed to blend.
Okay.
If it's too thick, you can just add a little more of your liquor,
Okay.
and then that will smooth it out.
Okay.
So that's one of the tips for us using that.
And what if you have what if it's too much liquid? Would you just?
If it's too much liquid, you can go ahead and add a little bit more ice, but you got to keep in mind
I don't wanna water it down.
it could water it down and also just change your flavors. But
Okay.
you want to start off with a good base in the beginning.
Okay.
And
Good
just
deal.
don't be afraid to experiment. It's fun, and if a lot of times drinks are discovered by, say for instance, if you want to make a pina colada, but you only have a little bit of pina colada, but you have some strawberry puree at home. Mix it together, strawberry pina colada.
Okay.
And also, you know, it's just, you can't be afraid to experiment and step out and try to make things, because it's fun and it's a great way of learning. And as a mixologist, we actually set aside time where we would just come up with drink recipes, and every day some other mixologist is coming up with something else, and they have competitions, and it's a great way of learning, and it never gets old.
I think that's awesome. And anybody who's watching that is in Carroll County or nearby has tasted one of your drinks, and they know that you make some great drinks.
I
And
still love it after 33 years.
I think that's great. And I really appreciate you coming to my house today and sharing your expertise and teaching me a little bit about all of this, because I am not the expert, and that's why I invited the expert, because that would be
thank
you.
Well, thank you. And anytime that we can help out, get in touch with Mindy, whether it's a wedding, a party, a social event, we're all around in the neighborhood, so just give us a call.
Awesome. And I'll post your information in the comments.
Okay.
And if anybody has any questions for Jeff or myself, you can put them in the comments, and he and I will go through those later on. And I appreciate you joining us today. Again, my name is Mindy Banks. I'm the Flip Flop Chef, and this is Jeff Ferris. He is our mixologist today. And we hope that you enjoyed our presentation. Have a wonderful day.
Bye-bye.